What's up, guys? Today I wanted to make a video showing you how I make the thumbnails for our Flesh and Blood content. So what you're going to need is GIMP. I use GIMP. You can use Photoshop, but GIMP is free. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. But basically, I got a new GIMP project open. We're going to create a file new, and it's going to be 1920 by 1080 pixels. That's the standard 1080p image size. And I'm just going to hide the background because I like looking at the gray squares. And now I'm on fabtcg.com. You go to retailers, marketing assets. That's where I am right now. And let's say you want to make a video about Icelander, for example. So I'm going to go to the Uprising section, and there's all kinds of banners and event wallpapers and stuff. I'm going to go down to the Icelander hero art, for example, and there we have a beautiful official crispy image of Icelander. So I'm going to save this. Yeah, Art Hero Icelander with 10,000. So that's good. I'm going to save that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply drag from my web browser. I use Brave browser, by the way. It's the best browser in the business. I'm just going to drag this from the download to GIMP. Bam. And it's going to bring it up as a new layer. Here we are. So now I'm going to use the GIMP move tool to kind of put Icelander in the frame. So I'm going to scale this down ever so slightly. So I'm going to go to layer, scale, layer. Right now it's 3500 by 4880. I'm going to maybe reduce it to like 3200 and hit enter. The aspect ratio is locked, so it's just going to scale it evenly for me. So I'll hit scale. All right, and now Icelander fits better in the frame. So I like this. You got the staff right at the corner. You got her in this third right here. The law of thirds, I believe it's called, for film and stuff. So we have a nice background image for our thumbnail. What I'm going to do now, since the image is so much larger than 1920 by 1080p, what I'm going to do is get the rectangular selection tool right here, and I'm just going to carve like right out of the frame like this, and I'm going to say layer crop to selection. That way it's going to chop off all the excess pieces. You see now the image is just the size we need. So I'm going to Control Z, get it back to where it was. And I'm going to save my work here. Icelander thumbnail. So I'm just going to save the project in case anything happens. So what we can do next is make it a little bit more artistic and poppy, because if you zoom out, that's like how our thumbnail is going to look on most web browsers and YouTube. So I'm gonna come back here, and we'll go to colors, saturation. So for example, here's what 1.5 saturation looks like. That's a little bit blasted too much. Maybe 1.3. That looks pretty good. 1.25. I think that's good. So there it is after. There it is before. So you can see it just kind of pops out a little bit better. See that? So I like that. What I like to do next is go to filters, artistic, cartoon. And now see, by default, it's pretty dramatic. But what we can do, I'm going to change this mask radius from 7 to about 5. And I'm going to take this percent black, change it from 0.2 to 0.1. That's a little bit better. So now when I zoom out, you see it just kind of looks like a little bit crispier. It just kind of like stands out a little bit better. So I like that. I think I'll stick with that. I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll hit OK. And what I also like to do is I'll go down to the bottom right. Here, I'll move my person out of the way. Here we go. I'm going to go down to the bottom right here. Add a new layer. Okay. And now on this new layer, I'm going to make sure nothing is selected. So I'm going to select none. So now I'm on this new blank layer right here, as you can see. I'm going to go to filters, light and shadow, and I'm going to say supernova. And by default, it's blue right here. I'm going to click on this arrow, and I'm going to select where the supernova is. So her eye looks cool for this. So I'm going to click on her eye and give it a little supernova right there. I can even use the color picker, this droplet right here, and I'm going to select like this white on her hand. It's a little bit too white. That's a fail. So I'm going to go to blue and get like, okay, there we go. So here's like a darkish blue or like a medium blue. That looks kind of cool. So I'm going to hit OK. Radius is like how big it will be. So, I mean, that's a big one. It's 20 by default. Maybe I'll go like 15. And then number of spokes, I like to increase this from 100 to like maybe like 150. And I'll hit OK. So now you can see we have this cool little bright eye on Iyslander. I'm going to turn the opacity to about 80 instead of 100. And then I'm going to duplicate this layer by right clicking on the layer with the supernova. I'm going to duplicate layer right here. Bam. And now I can use the move tool on the second supernova and kind of bring it over to our other eye and see what that looks like. So put it right there in our eye. Zoom out. That looks pretty cool. It's a pretty interesting thumbnail. I'm going to go back to the layer that is Iyslander's photo here. I'm going to mess with the saturation a little bit more now that we have the cartoon effect on and stuff. So I'm going to go to layer, or sorry, colors, saturation. I'm going to try like 20% more, 1.2. Zoom out. I think that actually looks a little bit nicer. So I'm going to say okay. And now this is a pretty dope thumbnail, considering we started with the hero art and then we cropped it to our thumbnail size and we added these cool supernova eyes on it. So now if I want to export it, I can just simply go to File, Export as Iyslander thumbnail.jpg. You want to use JPEGs for YouTube thumbnails because of the number of megabytes size limit. So I'm going to export that to my folder that I always use, and there you go. I can show you how to add text, but I want to keep this video under 10 minutes, so there's a little quick and dirty on how you can make some fancy flesh and blood related thumbnails. So I hope this helps you, and have fun messing around with different filters and colors and effects. And if you want additional tutorials like this, you can let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.